Hallo? Oh, welcome. Yeah, so today I woke up and thought I might give you a little insight on how I made the tracks for my latest release. In this video, we're gonna start off with Cassiopeia. Paya? I have no idea. Yeah. Most of you have probably heard the track already, but I'm gonna give you like a short insight into the track right now. So enjoy. That's it. All right, yeah. So that's the main idea of the track and what it's all about. Yeah, I guess I'll start by showing you the insights of the intro. It's a pretty simple intro because I normally really suck at doing intros. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We have a kick here that is low passed. I just took the main kick, put a low pass filter on so that it doesn't like hit you in the face from the beginning. Then we got some, I think it's a crash cymbal, yeah, with some delay on it. Just to give you like more orientation if you're mixing it. What we have here is just a bass sound that's dropping. I think it's just a sine wave. Well. 808 sub. Yeah, pretty simple. In the synth section, we have this weird boy. Sounds like a synth, but actually it's a bass sound, which sounds horrible without effects. Yep. So this is like a preset. If you play it at the right pitch, you get the idea. Yeah. So with effects, we have some EQing going on. EQs mostly all of the stuff out of it. Some chorus thing. Valhalla shimmer. Some volume. I think it's being automated as well. All right, I'm back. So I took the main sound. Nice thing to do. Just take your main sound if it's like really melodic, even if it's a bass sound. Like if it's a dirty bass sound, slap some reverb on there. Sample that stuff out and use it in your intro, because then you have like elements to lead into the drop. So it's not like, oh, here's an intro and oh, there's a drop, but it has nothing to do with it. So you have like the same sonics already in the intro. So like it's from a main sound here. Basically that. with a really long reverb. Yeah, some EQing, soothe, filtering. I think it's filters in, yeah. And a tool. This is automating the width, also a nice trick to do before the drop. Just get rid of some of the stereo stuff so that the drop has a bigger impact. Yeah, it's the same story with this one. Pretty epic. Also just reverb again. Reverb on the main sound. Then sample it out. Yeah. This noise is going on throughout the whole track. It's just basic white noise, panned left and right, just to glue it a bit together. Pretty boring stuff. Then I've got a riser here. It rises. Just a basic thing, really. Like, without effects, it probably sounds horrible again, so brace yourself. Yeah, pretty simple stuff, just like some shimmer on it, filter. That's all you need. Then I found this interesting Tom preset. Shout out to Tom Finster. And this is from Hive. It's pretty interesting because it's synthesized and it sounds so organic. Really like it. I just did a couple of adjustments, but yeah, the preset was already pretty bonkers. Yeah, again, just some filtering, volume automation, EQing, boosting a lot of the lows. Because before that I found it was quite thin. So this is without effects. Yeah. Then some limiting at the end. Just catching the peaks and making it a bit more, sorry camera, a bit more rough. Yeah. Then there's an interesting element here. Like in the track itself, you can't really hear what it is. It sounds almost like a clock or something, but now you might be able to hear it. Jesus Christ. What's up with my nose today? It's this little guy. Probably can't even hear that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I basically, first I really wanted to use it in a track, like as a melodic element, but it didn't really fit the vibe. So this is what it sounded like before. Nice. And this is with effects. So I basically just took out all of the like tonal elements from it with soothe. Pretty aggressive soothing happening. Then some filtering and EQ. There's also another EQ here. Some limiting, yeah. Then we have another element, comes in every now and then. Just some Foley. Plastic bag stuff. That's basically all about the intro. Wait, not yet. We have we have a Reese. Wouldn't be drum and bass without a Reese, of course. Pretty simple thing. Just took the unison to 2, took down the width to 0, so it doesn't phase around on me. Some dispersers, Saturn, EQing. That's really just the lower frequencies that I was interested in. And then we have the main sound coming in, a bit different than it is in a drop. And then it gets more the vibe that it has in the drop. Yeah, so that's basically the intro. We got some lal. I think that's also just some stupid recording that I did. But it's always nice to just record. Like if you're doing really weird stuff, just record it, because in moments like these, you're just searching for some crunchy little thing and then you have it, basically. And we have another tom. Together. Yeah. Yes, so that's all about the intro now. Let's get started with the drop. I'm gonna show you the drums first. They are pretty simple in this tune. Well, from the rhythm, it's nothing really happening there because the main elements in the drop are already pretty like rhythmic, and they have a strong groove. And so I thought I might go easy on the drums so it doesn't conflict each other that much. Yeah. With some variations. More variations. All together. Lovely. So for the kick, I used Kick 2, which is my go-to kick plugin. Yeah. And it's just a click, basically. Nothing too crazy happening there. It gets a bit more vibe from the percussions because of the side chaining that I did. So I took sidechain signal and put it on the percussive elements. Yeah. Well, that's the kick. The snare is a bit more complex, but also not that much. It's a nice low and crunchy snare. So for the fundamental, I used Serum, no effects on there. Just a donk again, just like the kick. Yeah, just a volume envelope here, pitch envelopes, one for like the really sharp transient, and the other one just for the overall sound. Pretty simple. Then we have addictive drums here. This is sort of like the main character. I can show it to you without the effects, maybe. Sounds disgusting. So the effects on the snare, quite a bit. We got some reverb here. Adds a lot of character again to the sound. And some EQing. A bit of soothe. Get rid of the harsh frequencies. Also makes it a bit more snappier, I think. Some random boosting, not really random. I thought it missed a bit of the high end there. Distortion also plays a big role. Then I took out the high end again. Yeah. It's just, it happens in the process. First you think there are not enough highs, then you completely crush the sound, then there are too many highs. So it's just a flowing process every time. Also boosted this frequency here. Can't really hear it, but it made sense in the moment. Then I used a shaper box to shape the sound because I want to have the transient clean as possible. So because if you don't do that, then it's gonna sound like this. So they're basically canceling each other out. I think you can also see it if you look at it right here. Doesn't look really tasty. You can see it's basically all just noisy and is not really defined. So if you turn this shaper on, you can already see by the color change that it has more beef in the beginning, basically. And I use this on all of the layers. There's another one, I think. Yeah, this is just a hat. Also a soothe and some EQing. Oh, even with a snare. Okay. Yeah. Just for more high end in the snare. Another serum. That's just noise. And here is the not bad sample again. And that's the crunchy thing that you hear. Like if you mute this, makes it more rough and dirty. For the processing, usually I don't do much to the snare. I like to get the individual layers like set up perfectly, so I don't have to do anything on the general thing. But yeah, this project is a bit old already, so I felt that there was too much stereo information in this area, so I took that out. Made a couple other adjustments, boosted the fundamental. Then I got some camel fat here with a bit of tube distortion and a lot of compression. Yeah. And some limiting, which is like crushing it as well. Pretty hard. But if it sounds good, it sounds good. Yeah. We have a little different snare back here as well. I think that's just a not bad and another random bounce I did for something else. It's just some variation in the end of the first drop. Simple stuff. Yeah, for percussions, I have a lot of noisy heads. So this is actually more like a snare layer, because it works really well with the snare. There's some ring modulation on it to give it that crunchy feeling again. And also to make it stereo. Some EQing. Really the standard stuff that you would do for your heads. Then we have some other heads with the E hat. They're as basic as it gets. Just some EQing again. More EQing. And this tool right here, yeah, just boosting volume and taking a bit of the width. Could have done that right here, but again, it just happens in the workflow. Then we have another Addictive Drums plugin right here for the organic hats. Yeah, I think, yeah, I just took a preset and tweaked it a little bit. That's what I usually do. Don't bother too much, like with adjusting too much in Addictive Drums, because I want to give it a more like organic feel and sound. Then we have some EQing, some soothe, more EQing, a compressor, more EQing, and a tool. Tool again just to boost the volume again. And the same story for this one, except it's a different preset. Well, it's the same preset but different hat. Bit shorter. And some stereo automation. Because without that it would be too static and too boring. That's a nice trick to do for these like shuffled hats and percussions. To give it more room and stereo feel, and also it helps the groove a bit more. And this is the same stuff here, just a bit slower. Yeah, so those are the percussions. There's nothing that special happening there. So let's head into the source. Yeah. We can start with the bass sounds. So I already showed you the Reese bass from the intro. Then we have the main bass here, the main bass sound. That's the beauty of effect plugins. So without the effect plugins, it basically is too thin and everything. I again took a preset, adjusted it to my liking, changed the envelopes a little bit and stuff like this. And I added a texture. I can actually show the process a little bit. So this just gives it, let me turn on the limiter. This just gives it more gritty noise. I took down the stereo width. So we have all in mono. Then I added a disperser. This really gives it all the bouncy character. It sounds like rubber. Has a rubbery vibe. Yeah. Then I did some EQing here, which is pretty crazy. Took out an annoying frequency here, and then around the 350 area. Boosted the highs, the lows as well. Then I added a Saturn. Just for some exciting saturation. Compressed it. And then added a couple of other effects. So there's just a clean signal that goes through. And in those parts, I think not here, but I have to start from the beginning. What is happening now? Ah, yeah. So there's just a reverb layer. And this is actually like an element that I like most about the track, because it's a bit unexpected, because it's the bass sound basically, and you wouldn't normally have long reverb tails on a bass sound, but because this is more like a mid frequency and like high bass sound, and also with the notes that I'm playing there, it worked really, really well. So I basically just took another layer here, added some reverb, some EQing so that we don't have the lows interfering with the main sound. Yeah, pretty nice stuff. Then just absolutely crunched the sound together. Yeah, what else do we have? We have this one. Jesus Christ. Yeah, another bass drop. I think it's even, no, not really the same, but almost the same as in the intro. It literally just a sine wave with some glide. And then the Reese comes back in and so on. So the main synth sounds, probably the most interesting part, because there's a lot of stuff happening there. Really nice stuff. So I have an arpeggiator here. Without that, boring, and with that, exciting. I used Faceplant. Normally don't use it that much, but for this track I tried it out. Again, took a preset, adjusted it, so I think the original doesn't even sound like that. And then did a lot of effects on there. So without the effects, it sounds like this. Reverb to give it more room. Then we have an effects layer, which is the interesting part here. There's a crystallizer on it. Convolution, texture. EQing, limiting, everything you need. So this is for the, it sounds like Foley stuff, like coming in. Hypnotic. So yeah, the crystallizer is basically a granular delay thing. It's set to reverse mode. We have some volume automation here. This is of course so that it gets like this sucking feeling. And convolution. Doesn't do too much. And then the plastic bag noise from texture. It adds a lot of character. Some EQing and limiting again. Then I put on an OTT, the naughty plugin. Let me activate both again. Saturn. Saturation, basically. More EQing, taking out the lows. Heavy compression. Shimmer. This also comes in every now and then, as you can see here from the automation. Yeah, just to fill out the spaces. We got a decapitator. To distort a little bit, not too much. More EQing, taking out the lows again, because from all of that distorting and stuff, there were some lows in there again. And we don't want that. Get rid of your lows. Heavy limiting. Nothing special about it. Like I said before, if it sounds good, do whatever you want. Then we have a slight variation of that sound, which is here, in this part. We also have the sounds from the intro coming back in. And this one. So here the ARP is set to chord mode, so it doesn't go like doom, dim, doom, dim, doom, dim. It plays every note that is present at the same time, so like a chord. But it also has like the same steps as the first variation of the sound. Well, here it's almost the same story, just a couple of adjustments I made. I don't really have to go through all of this. Yeah. Then we have this variation, which is almost the same as the first. Wait, we have other variations. This one. And if you have a good ear, you already noticed that I'm switching here between a saw and a... Well, it's the overdriven saw, so it's basically a square wave and a saw. So yeah, and the other effects are basically the same as in the first part. Then the intro thing is coming back in, and that just keeps going until the end. Yeah. For the second part, I did a more progressive melody, so it just keeps getting up, going up and up. So other than that, the second drop is pretty much made out of the same sounds. Down here in the effects section, we have also the same sounds that I showed you before. And yeah, I hope I didn't forget anything. This is pretty much it. This is the track. This is how I made it. And that's it for Cassiopeia. If you have any questions or if I forgot anything, which can happen, just let me know in the comments or via Instagram, WhatsApp, Discord. Call me, whatever you want. Have a nice weekend and see you in the next video where I'm going to show you the process or the project of the other track, which is called Searching. And in the meantime, go listen to the release on Spotify, SoundCloud, and all the other platforms. And buy that shit.